Hi there, it's me. Welcome to my kitchen. Today, we're going to learn how to bake a coffee cake. Now, this is a quick and easy recipe that requires no special equipment or ingredients and is perfect for any occasion. So let's get started. First, we'll begin by preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This will ensure that our cake is baked evenly and that the outside doesn't burn before the inside is cooked through. While the oven is preheating, we can start preparing our pan. To do so, we'll grab a 9 by 13 inch baking pan and lightly grease it with butter or oil. You can also use cooking spray if you prefer. Next, we'll line the bottom of the pan with parchment paper. This will make it easier to remove the cake from the pan once it's baked. And lastly, we'll flour the bottom and sides of the pan. This will prevent the cake from sticking and ensure that it comes out clean. Now that our pan is ready, we can start making the batter. And the first step is to cream together the butter and sugar. To do so, we'll add 1 cup of softened butter and 1 1/2 cups of granulated sugar to a large bowl. Using an electric mixer, we'll cream the butter and sugar together on medium speed until the mixture is light and fluffy. This usually takes about 3 to 4 minutes. Once the butter and sugar are creamed together, we'll add 3 large eggs, one at a time, mixing well after each addition. This will ensure that the eggs are fully incorporated into the batter and that they're evenly distributed. Then we'll add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and mix it in. In a separate bowl, we'll whisk together the dry ingredients for the cake. This includes 2 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a pinch of salt. We want to combine these dry ingredients thoroughly so that they are evenly distributed and that the cake is light and fluffy. After the dry ingredients are mixed together, we'll gradually add them to the wet ingredients, mixing on low speed until just combined. We don't want to overmix the batter at this stage, so we'll stop mixing as soon as the flour is incorporated. The batter will be slightly thicker than pancake batter, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now we'll set the batter aside and start making the coffee syrup. And the first step is to bring 1 cup of water and 1/2 cup of strong brewed coffee to a boil in a small saucepan. Once the liquid is boiling, we'll add 1/2 cup of granulated sugar and stir it in until the sugar is dissolved. This will create a simple syrup that we'll use to add flavor and moisture to the cake. To make the crumble topping, we'll add 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg to a medium bowl. In another bowl, we'll cream together 1/2 cup of softened butter, 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, and a pinch of salt until the mixture is light and fluffy. Once the butter and brown sugar are creamed together, we'll gradually add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, mixing on low speed until just combined. We don't want to overmix the crumble topping, so we'll stop mixing as soon as the flour is incorporated. Now we can assemble the cake. And the first step is to pour half of the batter into the prepared pan. We'll spread the batter evenly using a spatula. Then we'll pour the coffee syrup evenly over the batter. We'll repeat the process by adding the remaining batter and spreading it evenly. Then we'll pour any excess coffee syrup over the top of the cake. This will ensure that the cake is evenly moist and flavorful. Next, we'll crumble the topping by hand or using a pastry blender and evenly distribute the crumbs over the batter. We want to press the crumbs into the batter so that they adhere and create a golden-hued crust on top of the cake. Now we can bake the cake. And to do so, we'll place the pan in the preheated oven and bake the cake for 30 to 35 minutes or until a wooden toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. If the top of the cake starts browning too much during baking, we can cover it with aluminum foil to prevent it from burning. Once the cake is baked, we'll let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes. This will allow the cake to set up and make it easier to remove from the pan. After 10 minutes, we'll remove the cake from the pan by placing a wire rack on top and inverting the pan. We'll gently lift the pan away from the cake, being careful not to tear the parchment paper. Now we can serve the cake. And there are many ways to do so. One option is to dust the top of the cake with powdered sugar. Another option is to make a coffee glaze by combining powdered sugar, coffee, and milk or cream in a small bowl. We'll whisk the glaze until smooth and then drizzle it over the top of the cake. You can also add a dollop of whipped cream or a scoop of ice cream to each slice of cake for a decadent treat. When serving, we can garnish the cake with coffee beans, chocolate shavings, or a sprinkle of cinnamon. No matter how you choose to serve it, coffee cake is a delicious and versatile dessert that is sure to please a crowd. And while this recipe is perfect as is, you can also customize it to your liking. For example, you can add nuts, dried fruit, or chocolate chips to the batter for added flavor and texture. You can also use different types of sugar, such as brown sugar or honey, to create a unique taste. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can even try using a flavored coffee to make the syrup glaze. One of the great things about coffee cake is that it is incredibly versatile and can be enjoyed in many different ways. It's delicious on its own, but it can also be paired with a cup of coffee or tea for an extra boost of flavor. It's also great for breakfast, brunch, or even in the middle of the night. Another great thing about coffee cake is that it keeps well. In fact, it can be stored in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 3 days. It can also be frozen for longer storage. Just thaw it overnight in the refrigerator before serving. So next time you're in the mood for something sweet and comforting, try baking a coffee cake. It's quick, easy, and sure to satisfy your cravings. You may just find that it becomes one of your go-to recipes for any occasion. Thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen today. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss one of my videos. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments below. What's your favorite way to enjoy coffee cake? Do you have any tips or tricks for baking it? Or what's your favorite coffee cake recipe? I can't wait to see you in the next video.